From the TBD studios, let's talk live with your hosts, Natasha Barrett and Melanie Hastings.
When it comes to making assumptions, people can get into a lot of trouble. In any relationship, it's always important to know as much as you can, but keeping an open mind, that can make all the difference. Author and communication expert Stephen Gaffney is here today with some things that we can remember when it comes to dealing with our problems. Hi, Stephen. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
So this is all about making great decisions, and you say the first thing we got to keep in mind is start asking questions.
Actually, the very first step is to realize that we're wrong. I've been doing seminars for about 16 years, and there's an exercise that I developed that actually proves to people that 50 to 70% of what they think about on a daily basis is incorrect. And if you think about it, wouldn't that make our life a lot easier? Look at Congress. I mean, everybody's thinking they're right, and look at how that's working.
So if we go into it with the attitude that we are wrong, then immediately it opens our minds to other possibilities?
Absolutely. Just think about this. Who are some of the most annoying people you've ever met? It's probably people who are self-righteous, who think their self is always right. And have you ever met one of those people that try to trick you and they say, I actually am really open to what you have to say. And then everything you say, they go, yeah, but, yeah, but, yeah, but. And you're like, forget it. It's almost like they have a force field and they don't, field up and a fence up that they actually won't receive information. And it's because they believe that they're right. And the startling thing is how often we're wrong. And if we realize that, then we become much more open to hearing different points of view, and we really grow in life.
Okay, well, start us off. What do we do to try to turn around our thinking if it's so wrong?
Well, the first thing is to have this test. So I know some people out there might be saying, I'm open-minded. Okay, I got a really easy test. Find a television station or a radio station that has somebody on that station that you politically disagree with, and see how long you can listen to them. I'm not saying agree with them. I'm saying how long you can listen to them before you're like, they're crazy. I can't stand this, and you turn the station. Absolutely. Everybody always says they're open to different political points of view. I'm open to different points of view at work. I'm open to,
right?
Yeah, exactly. Or how about this one? This is what I often say to audiences. Okay, when was the last time somebody disagreed with you and you walked away and thought, you know what, they're right and I'm wrong? When I say that to audiences, people are like, their head starts to bow. Because we realize it's really easy to talk about being open-minded, but it's very hard to implement.
You ever notice how when people are espousing their particular views, then they start to come up with examples to kind of back it up and support their theory? And
Yes.
they don't ever come up with the other side of the story.
Well, absolutely, and here's the reason why. There's a distinction in life between what we notice and what we imagine. Notice are the facts of the situation. Imagination is all of our thoughts, opinions, and evaluation. The truth is that whenever we develop an opinion, we tend to look for information that confirms that opinion. You might have experienced this where you're trying to talk to somebody about being more open-minded, and you present facts that seem to be conflicting with their point of view, and somehow they rationalize it. Well, statistics can say anything. And then a few minutes later, they're like, yeah, but look at my statistics. So people see evidence and support whatever. Look, if President Obama comes out with something today, you're going to see the Republicans have their point of view and the Democrats have their point of view. If President Obama has a point of view that is more Republican-oriented, the Republicans are probably going to rationalize it that way, and the Democrats will rationalize it that way. What's amazing is how entrenched people get, but they even do this at home. Think about this. Isn't it startling to realize with all the research out there, with all those communication books, and I have mine too, right? Everybody has their, divorce is still at 50%. How could that be? Because people often take strategies and they arm it to accuse other people rather than realizing we're all wrong a lot. I mean, some of the best information that I deliver in my seminars came from participants over the years who've given me wisdom and tactics that I never even thought of. In fact, that's really how we grow in life.
Interesting. Well, in a business situation, I could see how this would really come to play, because there was an example I think you wrote about how a middle manager, I guess, was told to fire some employee because they weren't doing a good job. But the middle manager went and explored it a little further, didn't he?
Well, absolutely. So what happened was that this person was charged to go fire somebody, and we've accumulated certain evidence they're not performing the job. That's a fact. They were not performing the job. But thankfully, what this manager decided to do was have a much more in-depth conversation and probe from a position that he might be wrong, maybe right about the performance, but wrong about why the performance isn't being achieved. Maybe it's not because they don't know how to do the job, or something along those lines. And what he found out was that when this manager questioned this other person, that this other person's child had just gone through major heart surgery. And you might say, well, why wouldn't you say that to your boss? You know what? Some people are very uncomfortable sharing what's very intimate about themselves. And so they don't always share that. And that's one of the things that we mistaken. We mistaken silence sometimes for other things instead of realizing, you know what, we just don't know. In fact, if we think about this, imagine a world, a work world, our home life, if everybody was much more open-minded and realized, you know what, maybe we're not the smartest people, maybe there's somebody else who's smarter, maybe they have some wisdom that we never thought about, and then imagine what the possibilities are.
So our last minute or so, give us some strategies how we can kind of turn around our thinking.
Well, the first thing is to run this test and to realize that we may have a major problem. Then if we think that that might be a problem, I would go ask people, and you might say, you know, do you think that I can come across in a self-righteous way? And test it out there. But I think the big thing is if we realize that, you know what, I don't remember the last time I disagreed with somebody and I walked away and thought they are right, then we have a major problem. And if we have that major problem, then what we really need to do is share this with other people and say, you know what, I'm struggling with this, and then really become much more open-minded. And you know, there's a lot of tactics we can do, but the very first step is to actually talk about that with people. Just imagine how many marriages might be saved. I mean, I've had people walk out of my seminars and save their marriage, and when I ask them how they did it, it's because they realized that they were really self-righteous and they apologized.
Wow, wow, it's very powerful. You've given us a lot to think about, Steve. Gaffney, The Power of Wrong is the article. Thanks so much for coming in and talking to us today.
Thank you for having me.
I think I listened. I tried to listen anyway. Well, the king of the party, Arch Campbell, is back. He's back from Oscarland. He's going to tell us what he did while he was out there covering the Academy Awards. And if you want more, you can follow us on Twitter. Let's Talk Live DC. We're coming back.
If you're even good, where anyone at all from